FPL Game Week 12 team selection. The international break is over, which means FPL is returning, and my wildcard is active. So today we'll be going through my current Game Week 12 team selection with a wildcard chip. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe. Let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, or we try to make them green. And yeah, we've had 5 red arrows in a row since getting to 70k in Game Week 6, and we're now obviously at 660k. And previously, just a few points off the safety score, but in Game Week 11 we were 22 points off the safety score, and that led to a Game Week rank of 8.2 million, which was double as bad as the previous worst one of the season, which was 4.8 million in Game Week 7. And the reason for that is because we had blanks all over the board. Spurs somehow managed to outspurs themselves and lose them at home to Ipswich. Son blanked at home to Ipswich. Porro, he got an assist, but it doesn't really matter because he lost a clean sheet and didn't do anything else. Robinson kept a clean sheet, which was fair enough to him. And Bumo had an assist, but wasn't really enough when you're facing up Salah. And Haaland, to make things worse, was on for 2 bonus, but he managed to get himself yellow carded in the last minute for holding a shirt. So that lost 3 points for owners, and then 6 points for captioners. So everything that went wrong. But the good news is the wildcard is active, and I can confirm that only 3 assets have actually kept their place out of the 15. So let's look into what we've done. So into the Game Week 12 wildcard draft. Now at the moment it's in goal. We've got Robert Sanchez of Chelsea. This is probably the least secure position in the entire team because I'm weighing up between him and Bart Verbruggen of Brighton. But I'm going with Sanchez at the moment just because he has the better fixtures for longer term. He's averaging more saves per game. He has more bonus. And I just think he's obviously tall. He has a penalty save in him as well. And I think, obviously, as we mentioned last week, Chelsea have the better defence, and he's still making more saves. So I think he'll get more points personally. Of course, there is a concern that he could get dropped, but judging by what Maresca says in conferences, from what we're hearing from the club sources, they all back him, and I highly doubt that Philip Jorgensen is going to start playing in the Premier League anytime soon. Unless he has a massive clanger, which of course, you can tell me I told you so. But it's Sanchez at the moment. Gabriel Magalhaes is one of 3 players to retain their spot in my 15-man squad, so it's a massive exodus, and he's going absolutely nowhere. Arsenal getting their players back, of course. Yes, Ben White has suffered an injury, so we're probably going to have Timber playing right back. I don't think it should impact too much of the defence personally. I think Timber's a very able stand-in, and of course Forest at home. It's not as easy as a fixture probably seemed last year, but they did just concede 3 goals at home to Newcastle, and I think, Arsenal, if they're very serious, they have to win this game comfortably. So I'm actually predicting a 2-0 win, so let's see what happens. Lewis Hall, an absolute snip at 4.4. In fact, I got him at 4.3, and he's coming in straight in to start against West Ham. I think it's a great entry point. Of course, he and Tino Livramento both started for England over the international break, so they should be full of confidence. And Lewis Hall personally has only blanked once in the last 3. He assisted against Chelsea, and then of course he got 2 bonus in the win over Arsenal. So I think that's a great pick. Of course, we've got Luca Dean as well. Yeah, many people have told me, as I well know myself, he is actually on my blacklist until this season because he's a troll. But he has been playing very well. In fact, he's been the best defender for my personal opinion for Game Week 12 on the wildcard, as only Ola Aina and Josko Vardio have more bonus amongst all defenders. Crystal Palace, Brentford and Southampton in the next 4, and these are 3 home games for Aston Villa. And those 3 teams I just mentioned as well, they all rank in the bottom 4 for away goals scored. So when you pair that with the fact that Aston Villa actually have the best home goals conceded metric at home out of all the league, I think that's great. A little bit of an upside. Maybe people might go for Konza, but I'm up for Dino, especially as he's got the most big chances created amongst all the defenders with his 8. It's level with Leif Davis, but of course Ipswich do not have a defence that can compare to Aston Villa. So pretty simple there. I have finally plugged the Mo Salah hole in my team, and he's going to wear the armband on his first outing as he goes away for Southampton. He stayed at home over the international break. He didn't go away to Egypt, so he's been recuperating, hopefully recovering for a very critical period for Liverpool, as it is for everyone else as well. And I think, St. Mary's is definitely the number one place you want to travel to at the moment, if we're being honest. No offense, Southampton fans. Bukayo Saka currently flagged as we saw him come off injured against Chelsea. And he obviously didn't go to the international break, the same with Rice. So I'm hopeful that he'll be fit. He's actually not been transferred into my team at the moment because I do have a tiny bit of value in Mbeumo, who's standing in, but I don't want to keep Mbeumo because he's going away to Everton, and Everton have actually kept 3 clean sheets in the last 5 game weeks. 2 of them have been at home, and Brentford are actually level on points with Southampton for away points scored. They have 0 points in away point games, so I don't back Brentford in away games one bit. Bruno Fernandes is a bit of an exciting bandwagon for 2 weeks. It's a 2-game week affair, going away to Ipswich this week and then home to Everton next week. Of course, it's the start of Ruben Amorim's era. Very exciting times to be a United fan. I'm sure for the United fans, he's going to be implementing a new style, hopefully a new identity. And it's rumoured that Bruno Fernandes will be playing behind the striker in a 3-4-3, sort of like a wide playmaker, which definitely suits him much better than sometimes when Ten Hag was playing a bit deeper. And of course, he's been playing very well. He's the most informed player at Man United as well. So I think it's a bit of a no-brainer pick, if I'm honest. Morgan Rogers, one of 3, along with Gabriel and Wood, that you can see on the bench to keep their spot in the team. And since his first return in game week 5, only Bryan Mbeumo, Cole Palmer and Mo Salah actually have more goal contributions amongst all the midfielders. And when you see in the team that he's facing, Crystal Palace, only Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich, so that's all the promoted teams, have conceded more big chances than Palace this season. And at 5.4 million, obviously I started with him at 5 million, it's an incredible enabler and he won't be going anywhere. Cole Palmer as well, another flag. He also didn't go on international duty, but he was actually pictured in training. Chelsea a bit more open, I guess, with these type of things. But I do think that Palmer should be fine for Leicester, the early kickoff. He's wearing the vice at the moment, but I just think, even though you think Palmer is more explosive, which he definitely is, I think Salah's a bit of a safer pick. And I do think Leicester pose a bit more of a battle than Southampton will, no offence, but I think, we've already seen Leicester battle to a 1-0 draw at home to Tottenham, and, yes, they just lost 3-0 away to Old Trafford, but that's Old Trafford. This is at home at the King Power. It's the early kickoff. They're going to make a lot of noise. I think they'll make it a little bit difficult for Chelsea, so let's see. Another exciting pick to have on WILDCARD, Alexander Isak has been in great form recently. In fact, since September, he's had 12 games and 11 GA. In fact, it should be 12 games and 12 GA, but he had a very dubious goal ruled out for an offside call, which was not offside, and that would have been 6 games in a row that he would have scored for club country. So I'm very happy to have him for West Ham at home. He's also risen in price. As I mentioned, I forgot to mention Bruno Fernandes also rose in price, but we were farming value on the wildcard, so that's all good here. Joao Pedro comes in as well at 5.4. I bought him at 5.4. He went up to 5.5 this morning, and I think he's just a great enabler, just like Morgan Rogers, really. You saw what Fabian Hersel was saying. He's very effusive on his impact on the team, saying that he's a leader, saying that his quality on the pitch is what makes everyone tick. And I think it's someone that we need to have as early as possible, especially for that price as well. As I mentioned, Wood, one of 3 people to retain their places. He's getting benched because he's going away to Arsenal, and I'm not expecting him to do much. I think if Forest do score, it'll be through, like a transition, because of course they're going to sit in a very, very low block at home to Arsenal, and Chris Wood is not a transitional threat at all. So unless he scores from a set piece, I don't really see him doing much. But they do host Ipswich next week, so I'll keep him for that, and then I'll be selling him to Jackson, who will hopefully have gotten his yellow card suspension out of the way. So let's see what happens. We're also benching Aït-Nouri because Fulham have the second best defence, and in fact, amongst all the teams, only Ipswich and Leicester have conceded more goals in away games than Aït-Nouri. So even if he gets a return, he's likely going to get a -1. And then O'Shea is just going to sit on the third bench because he is a playing defender. So that's my wildcard draft at the moment. It's pretty much locked in, but it's not locked in as always. I do change my mind, a bit of a flip-flop, as my friends told me. But yes, that's why we're looking at the moment. So if your wildcard is active, who have you got in your, what picks do you have that are different? Let me know in the comments, and also post any questions you have in the comments as well. And if there's any feedback, I've been commenting and replying to all the comments that you leave. Thank you for leaving them. I really appreciate the growth that we're seeing. It's going to be a very, very busy Christmas period, so make sure you're subscribed. Let's just check that you're subscribed for me right now, and I'll see you next week. So good luck, everyone, and may your arrows be green.